some of the players who missed out and will want to force their way into the team and whether they need to make a move in January to help their case. Starting with the 19-year-old Myles Lewis Skelly at Arsenal. You were a youngster at Arsenal back in the day. He's now been left out, according to Thomas Tuchel, because of a lack of game time. So Tuchel's saying, look, you've got to play more to put yourself in the picture. The argument from the Arsenal fans will be, well, hold on, he's 19. He doesn't need to be playing every single second of every match.
No, of course, but if you want to play, for the national side, you need to be playing in the Premier League side, right? These players are performing, need to be in there. We're not, if Myles Lewis Skelly was the only left-back that we had, then, obviously you'd still pick him. But when you've got players like Jed Spence, O'Reilly, other players in there who are staking their claim, Myles Lewis Skelly needs to be playing. I think he's a brilliant footballer.
There's a lot of brilliant footballers. I mean, how brilliant does he have to be then to get into the Tuchel squad as an option at left-back when you've got Nico O'Reilly starting?
Yeah, well, he's got to be in front of... for the first thing he needs to concentrate on is get in front of Calafiori. Yeah. Because he was in front of Calafiori last season. Calafiori's come back this season, performing well, and Arteta's picking him in front of him. Why that is, maybe he looks at Myles Lewis Skelly, he's young, he's got a mistake in him, he can, maybe get done positionally, he likes to drift into midfield, and sometimes his discipline might let him down, but in terms of him as a future star, Myles Lewis Skelly is going to be an England international.
Well, hold on. Nico O'Reilly's a matter of months older than Myles Lewis Skelly. Nico O'Reilly's 20 years old.
Yeah, but he's starting. He's playing for Manchester City and he's performing well.
But then does that not counter what the Arsenal fans are saying? That it doesn't matter. I mean, 19, you're a man in football, aren't you?
A man? I mean, you're not a man. You're still he's 19.
But he could be starting every game if O'Reilly's doing it.
He could be starting every game.
On their tail.
Yeah, but Calafiori's a really good player as well, and they've got options. And at this moment in time, Myles Lewis Skelly has found himself out of the side. So he needs to fight his way back into it. And once he gets himself back in the Arsenal team, then Thomas Tuchel, will look at him again.
But he's stuck between a rock and a hard place, isn't he? Because, so if he's not going to leave Arsenal, is he? I mean, or is he? Would you, Myles Lewis Skelly, would you knock on the door and say, look, I need to go and play every week if I want to get to the World Cup? Because he's the number 2. Arteta's not going to let him go. If there's an injury, he starts the Champions League games. He comes on in like the 70th or the 80th minute for Trossard when they go defensive in a Premier League match. Yeah. So he's saying back to Tuchel, well, I'm doing my best here. Yeah. They're not going to let me go on loan. So what's the deal?
Well, look, it's a great argument because Myles Lewis Skelly, if he genuinely believes that he wants to get in that World Cup squad and he needs to play football, then he would go and ask Arteta and say, look, I want to go on loan in January. I need to go on loan, go to another Premier League side. I want to play every week, stake my claim and get myself on the plane. But that's him, personal. Arsenal, there's no way they're going to allow that to happen. So he's just going to have to suck it up and deal with it and get himself back in the Arsenal team and get in front of Calafiori. Because Arsenal, there's no way in there, if they're fighting out for the Premier League, the Champions League, they need Myles Lewis Skelly to be in the squad. So it's a tough situation and you see it happen. And, on a personal level, as a young footballer, you want to play every week. You want to get yourself in the England side. Does that mean going out on loan? Yeah, of course, maybe that might be the opportunity to go out on loan. There's no way Arteta and Arsenal are going to let Myles Lewis Skelly.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? So it's a difficult one for him. Like, he's played 6 times for England. He's 19 and he's played 6 times for England. I mean, that's impressive, right? Yeah. And you're clearly not a first-choice pick. You said he's brilliant. And look, just playing devil's advocate here. I mean, do you think he gets in any Premier League team? Myles Lewis Skelly. I mean, he can't get in the Arsenal team, but you know what I mean? Beneath Arsenal.
I think he's there or thereabouts in pretty much every other side. Yeah, well, don't you? I mean, when I look at him...
Well, he doesn't get in cities ahead of Nico O'Reilly, does he?
He's 19.
You're having O'Reilly start at left-back for England.
Yeah, I know, but he's 19.
Yeah.
So, you're saying if he hadn't played... he's going to start every week. We're not talking about a 25-year-old who's played over 100 games in the Premier League. He's a young kid who had a quick rise to fame last season, who's a hugely talented football player. But he's still learning his trade. He's still learning the game.
So, hold on. So, if he hadn't come through the Arsenal Academy and he was a youngster at Bournemouth and he was doing what he was doing, would he have played for England? Would he have been in that England squad? This is Arsenal tax, isn't it?
I do believe being at Arsenal gives you more of an opportunity and more of a chance to get in the England set up. Yeah, absolutely.
You played every single England age group when you were coming through.
Yeah, when I was at Arsenal Academy, I was involved with England every single tournament, every single call-up. Being at Arsenal holds you in good stead. Of course it does. Like if you're at Manchester City, like if you're at Manchester United. Of course, because over, the course of, academy players, the best players are going to be at the best clubs. And Arsenal have got one of the best academies in the world. So, of course, they're going to have the best players. And, England, throughout the age groups, will pick from the best sides.
I just disagree with you in the terms of the I think you are a man at 19. I mean, look, we talked about...
You're not a man at 19.
We talked about Nico O'Reilly. Right? So Kobbie Mainoo, is he a man?
No, he's a young kid.
He's 20. Yeah, but I mean...
No, but he's a young kid.
He's 20 years old. The guy has played nearly 60 Premier League games for Manchester United. He's won the FA Cup. He's played for England 10 times.
Come on, he's 20 years old.
Clearly Tuchel is not having him, is he?
No, he's not having him because he's not
played for Tuchel.
No, because he's not playing for Man United.
So what will you do if you're him?
Kobbie Mainoo?
Yeah.
I'm gone.
He's already knocked on the door. They won't let him go.
Yeah, but that's because Man United looking after themselves and their interests. If we get injuries, Casemiro, Ugarte, Bruno Fernandes get injured, we need players in the squad. If we send out Kobbie Mainoo
12 months ago, you were
loan,
ranting and raving, saying that you should go. You should be, you should be in the England squad. We know a bit more.
But if
than
you're
that.
not playing,
yeah,
but if you're not playing,
he's in the bomb squad now, not the England squad.
Yeah, I know, but that's on him. He needs to be better and he needs to step up.
How does he need to be better when he's not even playing? How can he be better if he's not getting a chance?
Well, if he ain't getting a chance, then you have to go and knock on the door.
What if they're not letting you go?
Well,
what do you do?
As a player, there's nothing you can do. You have to suck it up.
What would you do if you want to get on that plane? You go knock on the door, say, look, and he's clearly not a disruptive guy. He wants to play for England. Manchester United say, well, we're not letting you out on loan. What do you do?
Well, you have to take it on the chin.
What, and just not play for England, not go to the World Cup because a manager's not having you?
Yeah, simple as. If you can't get out on loan and he's not willing to let you leave, at the end of the day, it is what it is.
Mate,
the national team gets picked.
He hasn't played for England since Lee Carsley was in charge.
Kobbie Mainoo?
Yeah.
Yeah, but because he's not been performing well enough and he's now out of the team at Manchester United. He wants to play for England, and if he gets the opportunity to play for Man United, he's got to perform, get himself back in the team. And if the manager's not having you, then you need to try and leave. But if you're under contract, you can't just leave. So if they're not going to let you leave, then as a player, suck it up and deal with it. You're under contract. And that Man United are not there as a charity for Kobbie Mainoo to get himself in the England squad. Man United are there to win.
You don't think he's been unfairly treated? What we've seen of Kobbie Mainoo. I mean, look what he did in that FA Cup final against Manchester United.
Unfairly treated?
Well, I mean, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but the guy clearly is talented. He's not getting a sniff. Is he, under Amorim?
He's not having him.
And Amorim's had his people that he's not having, and most of them have gone.
You don't rate him.
Garnacho, Rashford, they're out the door.
Yeah.
But if he's not having you, surely they should do him a favour and let him leave on loan.
They should do him a favour, but they've also looking after their own interest, Manchester United. They're not a charity. They're a football club, and they've got a player who's on their books who they're paying an awful lot of money to, and he ain't been performing. And whether Ruben Amorim's having him or not, Kobbie Mainoo will look at himself and say, all right, well, I need to do better. If he was at the top of his game, he'd be playing for Man United, wouldn't he? But he's not. So they've binned him off. Do they let him go out on loan to get him opportunity, not to play for England, but he's an asset to Manchester United. You want Kobbie Mainoo playing football.
20 years old. I mean, he's got so much.
Still a young kid. Don't say to me that 20-year-old you're a man. You're not a man at 20. What were we doing? I was playing football, but...
We're not men. We're not men now.
No. I've only just looked at it. I only literally sit here in my kitchen now and think, probably a man now, to be fair.
What are you going to do when you grow up?
Yeah. I'll never grow up.
Right,
20-year-old, you're a young kid.
We mentioned Myles Lewis Skelly, who's 19, by the way, a moment ago. Suggestions that he needs to play more for Arsenal to get in that Thomas Tuchel England squad or to even be in the picture. Sky Sports have partnered with Footballanalysis, an app where passionate fans share their opinions on their club. You can represent your club. Scan the QR code, visit the Sky Sports app for more details. And joining us now, the Arsenal fan should say, Nick Karamanlis. Nick, good to see you. So come on, where do you stand in this Myles Lewis Skelly debate? Do you not think, as I've said, he's between a rock and a hard place here? Because Arteta's not going to let him go, but Tuchel's saying, you've got to play more, mate, if I'm going to look at you.
Yeah, look. All right, Jamie, how you doing?
It's my mate.
Last season...
Who, Nick?
Yeah. Can't believe he's got...
practically family, Jamie.
If anything from now, mate, you talk absolute garbage. Full of garbage.
Have you two been on before?
No, he's a family friend. I went on holiday with him a couple of years ago, and I ain't seen him since.
When you had those Crocs in that open net thing by the pool?
Oh, Nick, come on, what you got for us?
Well, listen, Myles Lewis Skelly, look, we all know the talent. Last season, he was one of our standouts, wasn't he? A confidence he brings at such a young age, and he's so physical as well at that age as well. He wins us so many fouls. That's the only way to get the ball off him. I did have concerns when Calafiori started coming in over him because he was so good last season. But I think Arteta's got a different role for Calafiori. He was almost like a number 9 half the time. And yeah, obviously, it's not great for the youngster because it's a World Cup year and he wants to get the minutes. But
Nick, why is he not playing
really?
him? Why is Arteta not picking him? That's what, because he was in the squad and now he's out. Why is Arteta now saying Calafiori is my guy? Does he make mistakes?
I don't think. No, well, I don't think it's a lack of. I don't think the lack of playing time is a reflection of his talent. I don't think it's that. First of all, it kind of shows our depth in our squad as well. I mean, look. You could argue that maybe last season he got too many games, more games than Arteta would have liked to because of injuries. So maybe he threw him in a bit too early. Yeah. We got a little taste of him, and now we want more. But actually, Arteta's plan tactically is Calafiori suits us better. If you look at our games, Calafiori is sometimes like a number 9. He's the furthest forward, and maybe he plays that role better than Lewis Skelly does. I don't know. My concern for Lewis Skelly is now, when Calafiori comes off, Nkapie's coming on. And that is where I'm thinking, well, hold on. If you want that bit of steel, maybe Lewis Skelly should be the one coming on.
How highly do you rate him, Nick? I mean, we had that chat with Jamie a minute ago, and I said, well, how many other Premier League teams would he start for? I mean, what's your answer to that? He doesn't start for City. He wouldn't start for Liverpool. I mean, I know he's 19. I get that. And he's a huge talent, and he's got massive potential. But right now is what we're talking about, to go to a World Cup. How highly do you rate him?
Well, I rate him really highly. First of all, why doesn't he start for Liverpool? Who's their left back?
Well, Robertson's starting ahead of Kirkes at the moment, isn't he?
Exactly. So I think he starts for Liverpool.
He's not better than Robertson, is he?
I think he does. I think
right
he does.
Now? He's a boy, according to Jamie. He's not a man.
Well, hold on. There was a reason why they brought Kirkes in, because Robertson wasn't great last season. All right. Kirkes hasn't hit the ground running, so Robertson's come in. I think Myles Lewis Skelly is a better player than both of them.
Hold on, so hold on,
but
Nick,
I think he starts for most teams.
Nick, if Calafiori's injured and you're going for the Premier League title, and I offered you Lewis Skelly or Robertson, you'd go for Lewis Skelly and start him every game at left back.
Yeah.
He wasn't convinced there, Nick.
And that's not biased.
Nicky boy, you weren't convinced. That wasn't a convincing yes at all. I hear you though. I hear you. I tend to agree with you. Listen, I love Robertson. But his performances this season have said that maybe they're looking elsewhere, but Kirkes hasn't been good enough. I agree with you. Myles Lewis Skelly, potentially, I think, could and would start for Liverpool. He doesn't start for Manchester City, and he's not starting for Arsenal. Outside of that, it's up for debate. He would start for 85% of most Premier League sides.